everybody. Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts on Tuesday. Sun is back after some clouds and some rain yesterday evening, at least in southern Wisconsin.
That's right.
Northern Wisconsin didn't get as much as us, but to be fair, we didn't get that much either.
There you go. But they also got the cold air faster.
Yes, they did.
That was quite the change up yesterday.
It was. We dropped about 15, 16 degrees in Milwaukee in the span of about 2 hours.
Right.
It was incredible.
It was really quick. And there was at one point, there was like a 20-degree difference between Sheboygan and Kenosha.
Yes.
Which is, a notable difference to be sure. And that was the day I was driving back into town. So it was like I left fall, got back to summer, and then fall caught up with me.
Yeah, exactly. You outran it for a brief amount of time.
That's right. And I've been joking all morning that today's forecast kind of mirrors how the game played out yesterday, because it was a bit of a rough start. We had the rain this morning, and then it was smooth sailing after that.
Exactly.
Right? After that 3-run shot. Good to go. All right, we could talk Brewers all the time, but then the sports guys would want to be on the show.
That's true. We don't have time for that.
So let's actually get really nerdy here, because it's a big day in space history today. It was on this date in 1959 that the Soviet Luna 3 spacecraft sent back the first ever photos of the moon's far side, or sometimes called the dark side of the moon, which is a bit of a misnomer, but we never see it. This was the first time we did. It is, of course, a place that no human at that point, up to that point, had seen. Luna 3 snapped 29 images. It's a little blurry. Covered about 70% of the far side, but blurry, yes. History making, also a big yes.
Oh yeah, incredible.
How far we've come, though. Like that image at its date, when that was taken, that was a huge scientific achievement.
Yep.
Now you take a better picture with your cell phone of the front side of the moon, at least. But I mean, it's just fascinating to see how far we've come since this date in 1959.
Yeah, plenty of technology out there, and hopefully we just continue to keep exploring.
There you go. Well, we're going back, they say.
We are. That's what I hear. I can't wait for that. Well, the moon plays a role in our next story, too. This is fascinating. I've been looking at pictures on social media. The king tides are here and are expected to stick around this week along the entire southeast coast, with flooding being reported from Florida to North Carolina. Fox Weather's Robert Ray has more from Buxton, North Carolina.
Every day you see the residents come, and it's a vigil looking at these houses.
At one point, all of this shoreline was concrete with more than 100 yards of beach. But over the years, and accelerating in recent days, a catastrophic scenario emerged for homeowners here, with massive erosion leading to flooding and more than a dozen home collapses here in the Outer Banks.
We see the sand accumulate, it comes and goes, and it's just, we've never seen it this severe.
And this week's king tide, combined with the supermoon, will mean even bigger challenges over the next few days. You can see here, the tide is already causing flooding in some parts of Florida and South Carolina. And residents along the coast say they were shocked to see how quickly it all happened.
It's just, really traumatic loss of beach, and there wasn't much here to begin with. So it's been kind of eye-opening to see how quickly it can all go to the sea.
Now the question becomes, what will folks do with houses that are in danger but haven't fallen into the ocean? Well, some residents are calling on the state to declare an emergency, pointing out they built their homes here long before the coastal erosion began.
If I had $1 for every time somebody said, well, this is the price you pay for living on the coast.
Right.
This was not what these people envisioned when they built homes decades ago.
We're not expecting conditions to get to any kind of normalcy until next week. So people are still on guard and wary of the dangers here on the OBX. In Buxton, North Carolina, Robert Ray, Fox Weather.
Striking images for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, unbelievable, that combination. Like you said, the supermoon, the king tides, and then, of course, the situation out there. So we feel for those folks for sure.
We do.
Another interesting update here, weather-wise, a first in more than a decade, a deadly North Dakota tornado on June 20th, going back in time here. That has now been upgraded to an EF5. That's the strongest of its kind for any tornado. The first one on American soil in 12 years. The tornado caused significant damage across the region and killed 3 people. It touched down about 60 miles southwest of Fargo. Meteorologists from the National Weather Service estimated the tornado had winds in excess of 210 miles per hour. Yeah, an EF5 tornado has winds greater than 200 miles per hour. So it's significantly above that marker there on the enhanced Fujita scale.
And just look at some of these damage images or video from back in June. You could just tell the strength of that storm. So it is really interesting too to note, you know, this happens for us too. Sometimes we'll see changes in our storm ratings from across the state. It takes time for the National Weather Service to go through and really analyze a lot of the damage and just a lot of the data, the radar images. So it is possible to see changes.
Right, and if we get more data, you know, maybe some more evidence came to light or whatever the case may be to cause them to reevaluate this, then obviously as scientists you go back in, you analyze and you add in the new data. But looking at some of the visuals just in that little clip that we had just shows you the power of that EF5. And again, first in a dozen years.
Yeah, and unfortunately it was deadly too. So our hearts go out to everybody who was impacted by that. Now we continue to follow the flooding in Brevard County, Florida. Neighbors in one community worry the water from all the rain is getting dangerously close to their homes. Fox 35's Amanda Ruiz gave us a look at rising waters this morning.
Yes, believe it or not, but behind me is actually a street, but it looks like it has become part of the Indian River next to it, and that's just because of the amount of flooding and rain this area has gotten. Homeowners told me they've actually walked through this water, and it actually comes up to their shins. And the main concern that they have with this water coming through is actually how close it's getting to the homes next to it. Luckily, they have insurance and the homes are elevated, but with more rain possibly coming through, they're scared of what might happen. Residents told us flooding is nothing new to this community, but it usually only gets this bad during tropical storms and hurricanes. Homeowners are continuing to grow more and more concerned as the rain keeps coming and the water inches closer and closer to their homes.
It's amazing how much the water comes up just with a little wind. This is as high as it's been except for Milton last year. And I mean, it's surprising. It's not a tidal body, but the water level sure changes.
And I just want you to take one more look at how bad this flooding is in this neighborhood. That over there is the dock, and part of it is underwater. One neighbor we spoke to said he actually went out there to take a few photos, but the water was so aggressive with the waves and the wind that he had to get off of there immediately, and that's what they're worried about happening to their home. Luckily, they have homeowners insurance and their homes are elevated, so they're not too concerned about that, but as more rain comes down, they don't know what to expect coming up. Reporting in Brevard County, Amanda Ruiz, Fox 35 News.
Wow, Florida has been hit so hard lately.
It has rained for what feels like the entire summer and now the entire fall.
Right, yeah, we just can't catch a break. And that flooding and the video that just keeps coming in. Of course, we'll keep you up to date as we get more information. I know a lot of folks have friends, family, or maybe even second properties down in that state. So definitely high on our list to keep an eye on. But for now, we're going to keep an eye on our own backyard.
We sure are, and we can start with more of that broad view, kind of showing you that, yes, Florida, it is still raining at the moment. A lot of those showers coming in off of the water here, and it is overall more active along the East Coast or in eastern portions of the country, and that's actually thanks in part to the system that we just had moved through our area. So you can see a lot of that rain extending from New England states all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and then the Carolinas down into Florida. Still a lot of tropical moisture there. And these frontal boundaries aren't moving very fast, so the rain's going to stay in these spots certainly for today, if not even into tomorrow as well. It's a lot calmer out west, that's for sure. And here locally, we're watching a weaker cold front that's up towards the northwest. We had the one move through yesterday across Wisconsin. We have another one that's going to move through later on tonight, but it's more so just going to impact our temperatures. So we saw one drop yesterday. We're going to see another drop tonight into tomorrow, and it is going to bring in freezing temperatures to parts of northern Wisconsin tonight. So we will focus on that in just a bit. But zooming in out east again, you can see plenty of rain across parts of the Great Lakes region, up through New York, all the way down through Kentucky and Tennessee, and then plenty of that moisture too along the Gulf Coast into Florida. And again, this is looped over the past 3 hours. You can just see how these showers just keep moving in and impacting a good chunk of the state. And you can see that extending up the coast through Georgia as well well as at least South Carolina. Now, off the coast, in fact, pretty far, we have a new named storm. We have Tropical Storm Jerry churning in the Atlantic. The National Hurricane Center has been watching this one for the past couple of days. In fact, I believe Lisa and I chatted about it yesterday too. But now it is named, and it is a tropical storm. It's got winds of 45 miles per hour, and it is moving quick right now at about 24 miles per hour. So putting the track on it here, notice how there is the potential for it to strengthen into at least a Category 1 hurricane. As we get to Thursday and Friday, make it very close to the Leeward Islands, including the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. So could see some impacts from this in those specific areas before then turning up towards the north. So this is pretty far away for now, but when it comes to the tropics, that's the latest storm, and we'll have to watch some of those islands towards the Caribbean too. Bringing you back closer to home, we finally have sunshine across the state of Wisconsin. We woke up to some rain in southern parts of the state as well as some cloud cover. Saw a little bit more of that yesterday afternoon too out west. So that was one front that has now cleared our area. You can see just a few clouds south of Milwaukee down into Illinois and Indiana, but the rest of the state is lovely right now. Here's that second cold front, and that is going to bring in much cooler temperatures for tonight and tomorrow, but it's likely going to be a dry front. We're not really expecting rain out of it. In fact, the rest of the day statewide is looking sunny. Now, overnight tonight into tomorrow morning could see a few scattered clouds, but then we're back to full sunshine the rest of the day. And then notice heading into Thursday, same deal, very quiet but cool conditions. Well, from here, watch Friday. I think there's just the slight chance Friday morning into the midday to see a few passing showers, but here locally the chance is not great. So just slight chances at this point to end the week with a couple more raindrops in our area before a beautiful weekend in store. Now you can see when we look at the forecast highs across the country, just how strong that cold front is that we just saw yesterday afternoon. Look at the contrast in temperatures here. Milwaukee, we're looking at 60s. St. Louis kind of in the middle there, but then out ahead of that front, there are a lot of spots along the East Coast and down south that will still see highs in the 80s and 90s, but behind it, look at how many spots that are going to stay where they should be in the 60s. So it's kind of a back to reality type cold front that we were expecting for days now. It just finally arrived here locally yesterday. In fact, Milwaukee's a good 14 degrees cooler right now compared to this time yesterday. The rest of the state is actually a little warmer. Rob mentioned this. They saw the colder air or cooler air earlier than southern Wisconsin did yesterday. So the sunshine today is actually bringing in some slightly warmer temperatures that are in the 60s all across the board. But look at Duluth. It's only 50 degrees right now. So behind that second cold front, temperatures right now are only in the 40s. It's midday and temperatures are only in the 40s. In fact, you can see that towards Bismarck, North Dakota. Again, all that warm air out east, and we're feeling just a little bit cooler. Now, temperatures from here across the state, a range of 60s, but look at tonight. This is what I want to stress. The southern lakeshore, so Milwaukee, will likely stay in the 40s, but look at the spots that are going to drop near or below freezing up towards the north. And then we're going to stay pretty cool tomorrow. I think a lot of northern Wisconsin will stay in the 50s for high temperatures, but specifically for tonight's temps being so cool, look at the large area under freeze warnings from Minnesota into northern Wisconsin and the UP, and then just south of those areas, Minneapolis and then central portions of Wisconsin under frost advisories. So that doesn't include southern Wisconsin right now, but if you want to be safe, if you're inland, so far away from the lake, maybe not a bad idea to cover those plants or bring them inside. Now, temperatures from here with that secondary front will continue to drop a little bit Wednesday and Thursday, so plan on some even cooler days then, but we will gradually warm up towards the weekend, back to about 10 degrees above average on Sunday. Still looking beautiful, though, with a lot of sunshine.
And another well-timed warm-up for the weekend,
yes,
which is good news. We also have good news this afternoon from the eastern face of Mount Everest. Rescue workers have saved hundreds of hikers that have been trapped up in their campsites following the heavy snowfall there Saturday. Rescuers went up the mountain Sunday to clear the paths and bring people down. About 350 hikers were moved safely to a small town nearby, and another 200 will be evacuated by the end of today. And more rescue news now with the new video out of Florida. Back to Florida we go. Shows a rescue in the ocean. Beach safety in Volusia County Says 3 lifeguards teamed up to form a chain to save a swimmer in high surf. That person was safely rescued. However, just last weekend, a person did die after getting stuck in a rip current. Beach Safety has been warning about high surf and dangerous rip currents, which we get the rip currents here in Lake Michigan as well. They can be very dangerous. Obviously, when you amp that up to the ocean-sized rip current, it can be even more deadly.
Yeah.
And with the storms they've been having lately, this has unfortunately become a day-to-day thing.
Right, exactly. And now I know that next tropical storm that we just talked about is still pretty far off, but that's something, even as it gets a little bit closer to those Leeward Islands and beyond, they could be dealing with again.
Yeah, it seems like the tropical season is picking up in the last few weeks. We'll, of course, keep an eye on that. We'd like you to keep an eye on us, and we'll be back with more Wisconsin weather experts in just 2 minutes.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. We've been talking a lot about the local events across the nation and the world, but we're going to take it back here at home. We had a very rainy start to the morning, and skies are starting to open up, giving us some sunshine. That may do us some good later on.
Yeah, with the clear and dry conditions expected tonight, you might want to go out and do some stargazing. Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks has a look at our night sky.
Well, we had the clouds around last night with some rain showers. Officially, the moon was full last night, the full harvest supermoon, as it was known, but to our eyes, it's still going to look full tonight. So after 8 o'clock tonight, if you look in the eastern sky with our clear skies in the forecast, you'll be able to see that big moon rising over Lake Michigan. Again, it's called the harvest moon in October, the October full moon called the harvest moon. And it's a supermoon because the moon is at its closest point to Earth in its orbit, and so it's going to appear a bit larger and a bit brighter. So you're going to notice the big moon in the sky tonight. Now, in addition to that, if you look to the right of the moon, so if the moon is in the eastern sky, it's going to be a bit more to the southeast. That's going to be Saturn. You'll see Saturn shining bright there as well. And as the moon gets higher in the sky later in the night, it's going to kind of come just a bit underneath the moon, if you will. So it'll still be on the right-hand side, but just a bit below the moon later on tonight. Again, that's going to be Saturn shining bright. Now, if you're up during the overnight or early morning hours, Jupiter will be shining shining bright in the eastern sky. So those are the two big planets that will be visible, in addition, of course, to the beautiful full moon. And our skies will be cooperating now with clear skies in place. Now, in terms of the International Space Station, nothing upcoming for the week ahead, or at least nothing that's going to be at a level that we will be able to see it. Sometimes we'll have International Space Station flyovers, but they're really too low for us to see. It's really got to be at least 30 degrees or higher above the horizon for it to be a good viewing for us. So nothing immediately on the calendar for that, but we'll certainly keep you posted. Happy night sky viewing.
Something to look forward to. Once again, that is tonight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be able to get out there and enjoy, because last night we just couldn't. The rain, the clouds, and we were talking about it. We had the fullness of the moon last night, but still, as Tom mentioned, visible tonight, and we'll have perfect viewing for it.
Yeah.
Well, some stargazers might just be inspired to be a young scientist tonight, where we could grow and win a Nobel Prize. Today, we find out the winner of the Nobel Prize for Physics, and it was awarded to 3 scientists that work in quantum mechanics. John Clerk did his research at UC Berkeley, Michael DeVort at Yale, and John Martinez at UC Santa Barbara. Their research was done back in the 80s and helped make things like cell phones possible. Well, we will learn who wins the prize for the Peace Prize on Monday.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah, something a little cool there. Well, believe it or not, I'm going to give you a little tidbit about my personal life, because my relative actually won the Nobel Prize for Physics back in 1912.
Wow.
This is him here. This is Gustav Dalén, and he actually won the Nobel Prize for Physics quite a long time ago, but what he did was he helped develop the flashing light that you see today in lighthouses and buoys. So something, of course, we need here in Lake Michigan, because without those lights, how would you know how close you are to shore or shallower waters? So just a little fun fact that, I think within all of our meteorological genes here, we have some sort of scientist in the family where that's probably
so
where
how
we get
did you
our knowledge
know
from.
that? Did you do like one of those 23andMe type situations?
No, so just family research that we've had throughout the years, and something again we've just tracked within the family. So
that is very cool.
Science mind, I can thank him.
She's famous.
Not as smart as him, obviously, but we're getting there.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, before we take a quick break, we do not need a quantum physics degree for this next one. It's not even Halloween yet, but Starbucks is already preparing for winter. It's announced its holiday menu with some popular returning favorites: the peppermint mocha, caramel brulee latte, iced sugar cookie latte, I like that one, and an iced gingerbread chai. They will be available starting November 6th. And then later in the season, Starbucks customers can also get the chestnut praline latte and the eggnog latte.
All right, so I like that, they're starting to come out with the list. Currently not selling them yet, because we still haven't even hit Halloween or Thanksgiving. But at least, we can set our minds on some of the nice festive flavors coming up in the months ahead.
There you go. We know time flies, so it'll be here before you know it. All right, let's take a live look outside right now here in Milwaukee, where the sun is shining. It's going to be a great, great day. We've got a little bit more to talk about coming up here when we return to Wisconsin weather experts. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Wisconsin Weather Experts. We're talking so much about fall foliage in the last couple of days and just fall festivities, especially now that it actually feels like fall. But if you're looking for ways to get outside as a family this fall season, consider taking a road trip out to the Wisconsin Dells for one of their pumpkin trains. Every Saturday and Sunday this month, trains are scheduled for departure at the Riverside and Great Northern Railway. Kids 12 and under who ride the train will get a free pumpkin with the train ride through the Dells countryside.
Oh,
Great
love
idea.
that they get a free pumpkin too. Well, take a look at this beautiful fall foliage creating a golden backdrop for moose ambling through the backyard of a home in Colorado. So no, this was not here. The video was posted from Fairplay, a town about 85 miles southwest of Denver. The autumn color change came early this year due to drought conditions in the state.
Yeah, beautiful though. Okay, and I will see your moose in the woods and raise you a bear sighting in a grocery store. Oro Valley, Arizona residents and law enforcement on high alert. A shopper was on his way home from Catalina State Park when he decided to stop at the store. He didn't have any luck getting photos of wildlife at the park, but he was in for a surprise when he entered his local Fry's. The man spotted a bear cub running around. He says there were about a dozen people in the store, but the bear did not approach anyone and no one was hurt. Mark Freeberg with Arizona Game and Fish says that because black bears typically try to avoid people.
A bear is in the store.
And I could hear, some shouting, and someone says, "Hey, there's a bear in the store," and I'm like, "Yeah, right." I wasn't buying it.
They are afraid of people and they want to leave people, and I'm sure that bear was nervous and he got scared inside the grocery store and wanted to leave.
Well, and once that bear did get out of there, he did run away and he was not able to be found. So there you go, a happy ending for all. Thanks for staying with us again on this Tuesday. Poor little guy. We'll see you tomorrow at noon.